Now Sweeney, Dwayne Sweeney! Sweeney's over!
Can you please hand it over to your captain, Dwayne Sweeney?
Welcome to Real Tales with Sweens, proudly brought to you by Fish City Hamilton. Fish City has been servicing the Waikato's fishing, boating and outdoor needs for over 30 years. And now, with the help of their online store, their great range of products and outstanding customer service are available across New Zealand. This episode, I'm back with Bonze to share some great insight into teaser systems for lure fishing when targeting marlin. We follow along the same lines as we did with the boat setup episode, with the aim to share some of Bonze's insight and knowledge on a very useful tool when targeting marlin, in particular striped marlin here in New Zealand. We both share observations from our experiences of fishing with a well set up teaser system. We break down the different types of teasers, from surface chain teasers to dredges, and the part that they play to help increase your chances. We also discuss how you can set up your system and the different levels of investment to do so, as well as an epic blue marlin tail. I have an awesome giveaway for all you listeners. The team at Bonze Lures have kindly donated a submission teaser. The team at Kilwell Sports have also kindly donated a strip dredge and one of their brand new Response manual life jackets. As you'll hear in this episode, these will be an awesome addition to your setup. The details to enter will be shared at the end of the episode. As always, the show notes will be available on the Real Tales with Sweens Instagram and Facebook pages, as well as the website realtaleswithsweens.com. Good George have a 15% discount available for all you listeners. Just use the discount code REALTALES before checking out of their online store. The link for their store is also available on the realtaleswithsweens.com homepage. Lastly, I want to say a massive thanks to Bonze for coming on and sharing his knowledge with us again. Really appreciate it, mate. So join me as we get a real insight into teaser systems. Enjoy the podcast. Just sitting here in Bonze's factory. We had a pretty epic day today. Something pretty special happened, but this podcast is going to be based around teaser systems. It's one we've been talking about doing for a while. We want to kind of together share, I want to ask Bonze the right questions to be able to share his knowledge and his learnings of his fishing career, and to be able to transfer that across and talk about the importance of the way that you do things, etc. So today's topic's teaser systems, but I guess, do you want to start us off with what happened today, Bonze?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, wasn't it? Yeah. I wasn't even going to go fishing today, really. I had too much work. But with that cyclone coming and the call of a blue marlin, that there'd been a few around, I got the work done, and then we were out of here about 11 o'clock, I guess. Yeah. And then, had some good intel of where the boys have been getting some action. Shot out to the back of Queen's Boy there, which is pretty close for us. It's only like 150 metres, 50 metre line off the Cape. So it's only an hour steam off out of the bay from the ramp. So shot out there, put the gear in about lunchtime, and it's pretty choppy, It's pretty shitty out there. It wasn't very nice.
No, not at all.
No. Just started working that area. Marked quite a bit of bait, and just good structure there, and just a general area where when the blues turn up, it's a good depth line, I shouldn't say depth line, but a good place to run in and out on, running from the drop off out to that 200 line and then coming back. The fish seem to sit there, and you can fish across current there normally, which is ideal. We've been going for a couple of hours, marked a couple of bits of bait, pretty good looking sign, and then seen a couple of boats hook up beside us. We just did one extra pass, just a bit deeper. We got to the 190 and wasn't really paying attention, to be honest. I know you were. And I just hear big blue marlin, and I look back and I just see a tail going down past the teaser. I'm like, holy shit, man. Anyway, pull the teaser chain out, pull both chains out, fish comes back, has another crack as we're pulling it in, and then your curse comes.
Yeah. So I guess we'll talk about that. So on my boat, I've probably had maybe 14 or 16 fish come on my teaser. Like, they love it. I think it's where it sits and presents, like, it just looks really good, and we'll talk about that and the importance of running it, how we've set my boat up to run it, and like how we're running it today. And they come hot on it, and then they don't bite anything. Like, I think of the 14, it's possibly more. Like, I've had so many fish come on that thing the last 3 seasons, and they don't touch like, I don't get them to bite anything else. I just haven't had any luck. So today, when it come, like, I guess from my point of view, what I saw, I was just sitting there facing back watching the spread, and the teaser, when you see a good teaser chain setup, like, it attracts your eye, like, you watch it quite heavily. Well, I do anyway, and I guess a part of that is the fact that I've seen so many fish come on to mine and on friends' boats when I've been fishing with them, when they're set up correctly, and this thing just inside out going away, like, it's like it came from the transom and just 3 foot out of the water, like, the whole fish just backing away trying to eat this teaser. Clean missed it, and then he must have spun, like, on a dime, and he was like, I just yelled, big blue marlin on the teaser, and then like, obviously Bonze spun around, saw the tail go in, but then it's, before you know it, it was back and it was piling onto the teaser, and then we pulled them both out of the water.
Straight out of the water. And then
did you turn?
Just kept going, disappeared. I was like, man, I turned around, I marked the bite straight away, put my mark in, turned around, did the figure of 8 sort of turn, come back on it, just came back, nothing. I was like, put the teaser back in. As soon as I dropped the teaser back in, bang, there he was, straight on it again. Missed it again, pulled the teaser back in, and pulled the actual one of the lures right up into that spot, and by that stage he's just gone straight across and smoked that other corner. And that was it. And then just quick reactions. I was just straight across, like, raced, pull the boat out of gear, and I'm like, well, he's either on there or he's not. And he was on there. And and that was the start of a bit of chaos, wasn't it, really?
It was. So it was only 2 of us on the boat, and
it was
very less than ideal conditions. So it was it was, I guess I've had some bites from blue marlin before, and there's going to be another podcast about blue marlin. This one's not it, but just a little teaser there for your listeners. But I guess what I saw today was everything put in practice of what I've heard about, like, I've had them come up, I've had bites, but I've never had one hook like that, and he was hooked properly, and he fucking sent it. Like, it's a different ball game, and it's a big fish, like 600 pound.
600 pound.
That's a big fish.
It's a big fish. It was a big fish on the little gear too.
Like gauge hooks. So
so that's a whole another dimension again. And also, like, it's funny just, like, talking to you, because we've been talking about this actually happening for a long time. And we had a chance at it with last year after the podcast we did in your boat, and the biggest difference about the whole thing is the speed of what happened today compared to what happened last year. And I mean, as I say, this is a whole other podcast on blue marlin, but that was pretty much the biggest thing, is the speed differences in the 2 boats. And you see the reactions.
Well, and part of that is, like, the teasers. That's the reaction that we're trying to get. Like, I've had. Oh man, that thing was hot. I've never seen anything like. I said to you, like, that was. I think we were fighting the fish, and I said, like, holy fuck, that was the coolest thing apart from my wedding day and the birth of my 2 boys. That's the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. And I was like, fuck the Ramfurly Shield. Like,
there's a big call there. Right? I was like, okay.
And I said to you after, I said, I don't think I'll ever see another bite like that in my life.
Look, I mean, it doesn't happen often in New Zealand. Like, it's a rarity for sure. But I mean, there's nothing saying, you know, you go to another fishery where it is like straight blue marlin fishing. I don't mean to sound,
Yeah.
you know, but that's pretty common place. They like, and we talk. It's just so classic that it came on the teaser, and we're going to do a podcast on the teaser system and everything. Like, it is stock standard that most of the fish that I see now come on that teaser.
Yeah, the green one too, eh?
Oh, yeah, on my boat,
Yeah.
the green one. Oh, it doesn't actually matter which boat I put it on.
Yeah.
They love that green one.
Yeah.
That green submission chain. They just, oh, man.
Well, it's the same on my boat.
Yeah.
That's the one that they go after. Well, it's only run one though.
Yeah.
So, but that's something else we can
Yeah.
talk about. I suppose we're kind of talking around the topic, but yeah,
Yeah.
that what today.
Well, it's only because you're all pumped up about
Oh,
it.
I know.
You
It's like I'm like
yeah.
shaking still.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was like, yeah, that was proper. That was real cool, and it's just, yeah, I'm real excited to actually do the Blue Marlin podcast off the back of that because I learnt a shitload today. Well, I guess we've spoken a lot about it, and I talked to Chris Ash about it too when we went fishing and when we had some beers and that last summer. And you can see the importance of what you guys that know what to do, you know? And you're like, oh, fuck, I get it, you know? Like, well, we saw your mate hooked a real nice one 2 days ago and didn't stop the boat, and that was a big fish, and it died, and then it's too much line out, hard to lift it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole podcast on what we're on today.
Yeah.
But, like, that's another story. I mean, we want to talk about the teasers set up.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to get way distracted on
Yeah.
that. Like, as soon as you start talking about blue marlins.
It's like, oh,
And
this will
what
be
to
a
do,
Blue Marlin
and what to do,
podcast.
you know, from bite through fight, and through tease, the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's a whole podcast there, which is not
Yeah.
what
It's not
the
yeah.
topic is. You know, like, that's the problem, man. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so
Fishing's a good rabbit hole to go down there because there's so many different burrows.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, there's so many different things. You know, it's like just lure fishing in general. I mean, because that's what we're talking
Yeah.
about. That is an art form, man. Like, all of these guys, it really frustrates me. I hear, like, so many guys are like, drag and snag. There is no way you will be an effective lure fisherman, drag and snag. It's just, there's such an art to it with that, the drag management, the angles you pull on the fish, all of these things. You know? So, I mean, and as I say, today, that was like, it was mean for me because it was a challenge. Like, it was a fish that you're like, oh shit, got our hands full here with this gear,
Yeah.
you know? So, but anyway,
Anyway.
ended well.
Yeah, it did.
So,
It
yeah,
did.
you can tick that box.
Yeah. Caught my first Blue Marlin.
Yeah, and a proper one.
And yeah, holy shit, it was real.
Yeah.
Yeah. But nah, while we're talking there's another topic too, like angling technique and creating
look,
angle,
I mean,
drag control, all
if
of
you-
that, so we can.
I mean,
that's
today-
another podcast.
Yeah, but I mean, just going back today again, if you would have told somebody that you caught that thing on 3 kilos of drag today,
Yeah.
they'd be like, no way. I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you did.
I did. Yeah.
We were there. I mean, I was there. We did it. Like, you know, so you don't need drag to catch fish. It's angling and when to use drag, you know? So,
Yeah. Well, we were doing what at one stage 15 knots,
15 knots.
and it was taking
It
line.
was taking line, yeah.
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 So that gives you an
Yeah.
appreciation for the speed that they can travel. And he would have been he wasn't going for it. He wasn't up on top
No.
sending it at that stage.
No, they just get down sea on you.
Yeah.
And they get down sea and they can really go. So, and it was, like, as I said, the conditions were not, you know, good. You just, I mean, you start to turn it around, your back on it or anything like that, it just full straight with water, which we had a couple of waves come over. It's not a nice feeling in a little boat, eh? You know?
No,
So-
it wasn't.
No. But anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So teaser systems. So we've talked around it a bit, but I guess, like if we talk about the pure fact of what we saw last year, behind my boat when we had that bite from that blue marlin, very lazy bite.
Yeah.
Like it actually, like when you look at the video first up, like footage, you're like, oh yeah, it's a nice inside out bite, but when you actually slow it down, it's very lazy.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of factors to that. Is the speed of my boat, but today what that teaser did was trigger something in that fish that he fucking wanted it.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what you're trying to create, right? With the teaser system.
Totally. So
Right.
you're trying to, what you're trying to do is excite it to get an aggressive bite out of the fish. So, it comes on a teaser, you've got no hooks in it, you pull it away from the fish. Like, I mean, as we were discussing today, you have many crash bites of the teaser. I'm like, nah, man. Like, normally see the fish and can pull it away. And that's the ideal scenario, is you don't want the fish to get the
To
teaser
get it.
at all.
Yeah.
Like, I don't tease it. And that was what I started watching your videos.
Yeah.
And when you first got the teaser, you were actually trying to tease the fish and let it have it. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do with lure fishing. Maybe switching, yes. Like, you want to tease it off, like get the fish fired up. I don't want to do that with the lure fishing myself. As soon as I see a fish in the gear, no matter where it is, teaser's in.
Yeah.
But if I have a fish come on the teaser, I am like, just boom, hit my reel and just pull it out of the water. I'm not trying to tease the fish at all. I don't want it to grab it. If it grabs it, well, so be it. But I don't want it grabbing, and I want it, I want to get that out of the water as quickly as possible. So, I mean, all you're trying to do with that teaser
Is pull them up.
Is pull them up, get them excited, and then give yourself a more aggressive bite going away from the boat. Hopefully that increases your hookup, right? But so the thing with the teasers is running them in a position where most people would traditionally run their corners. So you've got a lot of white water, a lot of confused wake in that. All I'm trying to do there is create presence and commotion, and then have my lures running back in the cleaner water further. So I don't even start those lures till wave 4 on my boat. They're a long way back.
Yeah.
Like I've got the same distance as a corner on my 35-foot Bertram that I ran. That's how far back they are. But that allows me then to put the teasers into those positions. They stand out more in that clear water, because what I found is when I was fishing in Kona with old Captain Brownie, he's got I think a 40-foot Merritt or 39-foot Merritt boat, and it's got an extremely clean wake, like just very little white water. Fish on a Bertram or a Carbo or something like that has a lot of white water, and I just noticed that on his boat we had a lot of really clean bites, like not many, like where you just get that out of the rigger and knock it down, whereas on the boats with a lot of white water we get a lot of that kind of thing, where the fish just coming up, maybe can't see it that well, and just like gives it a whack to, maybe just, or can't see the target properly, So what I'm trying to achieve there is have the lures running in a cleaner position, so when the fish drops off the teaser, it's in a cleaner water, So that's my whole sort of idea around the teasers. As far as like the position of the teaser, I think that's really important. And this only comes through like trial and error, and you will attest for this, is we traditionally on all our trailer boats, and most of the launches that I ran on, worked on in New Zealand especially, is we never had teaser reels in the roof or anything like that. Like that was like, you never saw
American
that.
sport fishing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we always used to just run them off the transom, and we used to get fish to them, but not that many, So then start running them up in the rigger, and as you know, how much of a difference that makes. Like, I mean, I've seen your videos with it get broken off your outrigger, I don't know how many times now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the first, I did, the second day I ran it from the rigger, The first day a fish didn't come onto it. The second day I ran it, I raised 4 fish on the teaser. 2 of them cracked that 80-pound breakaway off the rigger. Like,
so the reason why I make this a point, why it's important. Okay, so you had your teaser chain out before, and you had very few fish ever.
Never had one ever on it.
Okay.
And I always ran one. Yeah, off the cleat.
So as soon as you put it in the rigger, bang, there he is.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, the whole thing about it is if you don't raise the fish, you aren't getting a bite.
Yeah.
So you've got something there. There's probably a fish there, but he's looking at it going, But now you've changed your presentation. And if you don't get that fish up in your spread, you aren't going to catch that fish. So it's got to be something to do with the way you're presenting your teaser and your spread. So as soon as you start to put those in, bang, you're raising fish up on there. You're getting hotter attacks on your lures, and that's sort of the basis of the teaser system. And then obviously you throw the dredge in the mix, and then you put your teaser chain on top of that. It gives you that dynamic of, okay, we've got a bait ball with it pushed to the surface. You know, so it gives you that next dimension, that surface dimension from your dredge.
Yeah, well, I can attest heaps to that in terms of that presentation because, well, like we talked about with the setup podcast that we did, literally got a good set of riggers, that's one thing I do want to talk about is the gear and the levels that you can go into a teaser system, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But like having a good set of riggers and then being able to, because having a good set of riggers, you can put a teaser up in the rigger, but I could never have done that with my old riggers. No, because if a fish ate it, would have snapped it. Would have snapped it, and all sorts would have gone wrong. You know, so having a good set of riggers and then having the dredge, and then now I've got the next level to that again, which is now I've gone to electric. So you know, been lucky as to partner with Daiwa and to be one of their brand ambassadors. So that's given me that opportunity to put that into my boat, and people look and go, oh, it's overkill. Like, what do you need that for? You know, in a 4.5 meter boat. Well, the proof's in the pudding. It catches fish. Yeah.
But the whole thing is like, I go back to that presentation thing again, and like I learned that this year I fished in Kona, and I fished beside boats with sonars. Wow. That's a humbling experience, man. Like, if you don't have a sonar fishing beside a guy with a sonar and the fishing's hard, you're going to get humbled. You know, so what I learned there was that you have to run straight over the fish. If you don't run over the fish, you aren't getting a bite. Like, so on the sonar, they mark it on the sonar, turn, get it on the bottom machine. As soon as it's on the sounder, they're going to get it to come up.
Yeah, they got good presentation. He's going to come.
Exactly. But what I found is they're obviously like they've got to like what they're seeing up there. They're not just going to come.
Yeah.
So we have these boats that were set up not that well before coming into the factory, and then we set them up. Their presentation's better. Still got the same guy driving, but all of a sudden he's seeing fish.
Yeah.
So what's that tell you? It's presentation.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying about the teasers, how you're presenting them. You wouldn't have got those fish up. I shouldn't say you wouldn't have, but you were more unlikely to have got those fish up into your spread. If you aren't getting them up into your spread and they're not liking what they're seeing, you are not gonna get the bites. It's as simple as that. And it's been like we've proven it with, like, you know, what we've done with you. We've done with so many other boats have gone from catching nothing. The same guy driving, he doesn't know any different, and we've changed the setup and presentation, and bang, they're raising fish. So they don't just miraculously become way better fishermen overnight and run over more fish. They're still doing the same things they were doing, but the fish before didn't like what they saw.
Chris Ash is a good example of that.
Yeah.
He's a gun.
Yeah, so that was his...
Can't argue he's not a good fisherman.
No, he's a very good fisherman, hey, like, yeah, like a freak.
Yeah.
And I fished with him a lot, and he's like one of my best mates. But when he had his trailer boat, I said, look, man, I said, you can't fish it like a launch. You know, I said, you're too good a fisherman to be getting these results. You should be doing a lot better. And I said, look, let me do you a favour as a mate. If you're ever going to listen to me anytime I go out fishing, because I'd never tell him what to do, is I'm like, let's change your riggers. Let's put 4 halyards in it, get all the lures up in the riggers, and change the way your boat trolls. We did that, and he's like, wow, man, boat trolls so different. Trolls like a 40-footer. I was like, yeah, it does. First day out, catch five marlin. You know, he's like, oh, man, I love this boat, eh? I was like, you know, so... yeah, so that, I mean, that's just another example of the presentation, and that's what that trip to Kona this year taught me, is just how much I've got to focus on presentation. You know, obviously still got to put the boat in the right place, but are you running over fish that weren't coming up before without that good presentation? Obviously you are.
Yeah, because Chris Ash, he's like the perfect example when I think of that, because I'm pretty sure that dude is part fish. Yeah, he knows how to find them. He'll find one in the middle of winter, and so that's a perfect example of showing the importance of presentation. So once you get the presentation right, he's obviously been running over them because he knows how to find them, but they haven't liked what they've seen. Exactly. Now they like what they see, bang, 5 in a day. Yeah,
and that's where the teasers come into. Now they're helping you, but they're helping you like present better to the fish, but they're also trying to create a stronger reaction for the bite, so hopefully I hook them better. You know, that's the real key to it all.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because it creates a footprint, right? Like a bigger footprint in the water. Like
it's definitely. It's like they'll come up, have a look. Oh, there's a lot more going on here than just 4 smoking lures. You know. And really, all your lures is just targets to carry hooks. In all honesty.
Yeah.
That's what they are. You know. So, but I mean. Yeah, so the teaser chains are one part of it, and then obviously the other really big part of it is the dredge.
Yeah.
And that's the silent achiever in my book, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so talk to me about the dredge and because how long have we had dredges in New Zealand now? Wouldn't be 10 years yet, would it?
It would be it'd be about 10 years, because, it'd be 10 years.
Yep.
Because I mean, how I got onto dredges was fishing with the guys white marlin fishing in North Carolina, and I think I've told this story in the past. I mean, I went and spent like $3,000 the first day I ever saw a dredge work. You know, I went and bought a dredge, went and bought an electric downrigger, you name it, I bought it, man. And I'm like, I need one of these things, and I bought it back here, put it on my little tinny, went to Hokianga and saw the amazing effects of it. Like the first day I ever used it, you know, like I was like, oh man, the stripies like these dredges too, and of course they do, you know, like. But what it does is it adds a whole nother dimension into your spread. It's putting a underwater imitation bait school behind your boat, so when they're coming up, they're like, whoa, man, there's bait here as well, you know. So, and what that does, that triggers, especially on a striped marlin. Blue marlin is a little bit different, but striped marlin is you know, especially if they're on bait balls and they're into that it's triggering a feeding instinct in them, you know. So yeah, your dredge is putting a whole nother dimension into it, and like there's so many different styles of dredges too, you know, of what you can pull. I mean, pretty much the ones we pull here in New Zealand are the strip dredges. I must admit, I was always in awe of the ones, like all the real fancy looking ones with all the swimming baits and all that kind of stuff. But I tell you what, the more I fished the strip dredge, it's pretty it's pretty effective, eh? Like I must admit, like I really like it, you know? Like it does the job well, easy to use, looks real in the water, and it has that added flash too, which I really like, you know?
Yeah, because I was... I'll talk a little bit about my dredge and the change that so I've always run a dredge since I had the boat, and I used to have these like holographic 3D baits. Like I bought this dredge the dredge I bought from America, and the reason I bought it is it stacks down into like a small box, so
Yeah.
it's perfect for the little boat, but so it's where a strip dredge will take up my whole floor, you know, when it's not in the water. So I had these little holographic baits, and what I noticed is it looked real good on the water, but they're just a solid piece of plastic. There's no movement to them,
Yeah.
so they're just like there. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw something pop up, the same company, and they made these little split tail ballyhoos, and it was just two pieces of rubber shaped like a ballyhoo that had a split tail, well, they're basically two flaps held together by the eye that you hook them onto the dredge. And I was like, and they talked about it, and they talked about the color of it and whatever, and they're like, well, quite often they're just black, and then quite often the bait ball will look dark in the water. And I was like, oh, okay, I kind of get what they're saying. And then they talked about the movement and the vibration. And I was like, oh, okay, sweet. So I ordered some of those to clip on my dredge. Got them, clipped them on. Never had a short corner bite ever. That first season I had 9. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can't tell me it's a coincidence. Fished all the same spots.
Yeah.
Like, had other bites like before that, but had never had one on the short corner. In the first season I had 9. I was like, wow.
Well, there you go.
So that, and then if I look at the strip dredge, that's what that creates.
Yeah.
You've got long moving strips that are hitting each other, the vibration in the water. Yeah, and it's got the flash of what my ones have, but it's also got movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the sort of second part of the teasers that we're using. And it's, as I say, it's a totally different job. I'm not so fussed on pulling that out of the water straight away. You know, I like it to keep fishing. And the reason I like to keep fishing with it is I just had so many multiples come off them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, say you raise a fish on the teaser, you pull the dredge out as well. Yeah, you might get multiples, but I mean, the amount of times that I've slowed the boat down and there's another fish in the dredge and you can manage to get that on too is pretty high. You know? So I sort of like to keep it fishing, whereas opposed to the teasers where I like to get them out straight away.
Yeah. Well, I guess with the teaser, it's like a singular target.
Yeah.
Where with a dredge, it's like a bait ball. They don't go in there like trying to pick something off it. They're smashing it with
and
their bill.
they don't try to eat it so much either.
Nah.
You know, like they're just
trying to smack it up to pull something off the back of it to eat it, right? Yeah.
Whereas the surface chain, they're actively trying to eat that thing, man, you know.
Yeah. Today's one was trying.
But on that teaser chain note, like I do like I mean I always try to run a chain with the and by chain, if whoever is listening, it's it's either like a squids or I know a good mate of mine, Eddie, over at Peak Sport Fishing, is running like a big paddle tail on like droppers. So he's got like 4 or 5 paddle tails with a lure behind it, you know.
Oh yeah.
And he says that works pretty good. But there's all sorts of ones that you can make up. But yeah, just anything with like a chain of artificial.
Where it looks like a bigger fish chasing smaller fish.
Yeah, correct. Is what we're using for a teaser. I'm not normally using just a straight one, like a single target.
Yeah.
Like I don't like that as a teaser myself. I want the extra, exactly what we just spoke about, that extra big chasing small, you know. So that's sort of my choice on the teasers. For blue marlin, I will pull really, really big stuff, single targets, but they are massive.
Yeah.
You know?
The chocolate thunder, right?
Thunder, yeah. Like that's another story for the blue marlins. But I'll pull 2 chocolate thunders. Yeah, one each side.
They're massive.
But then that gets on to like what you're gonna pull it with, you know.
Yeah. But then you see like a blue marlin and there's that big one caught a couple of years ago and they gutted an 80 kilo yellowfin tuna out of it.
Yes,
so
something like that.
The chocolate thunder is like the yellowfin tuna would eat that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I've noticed a lot in terms of talking like size and presentation, is that heaps of people that aren't necessarily into marlin fishing or don't really know, they look and go, holy shit, that's big lure, and it's like the BTK, and it's like, well, look at the size of it compared to what tries to eat it. It's tiny in comparison.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So just like a teaser, right? Like people look at a teaser and go, holy shit, that's massive. Like 50 kilo stripey's going to try and eat that, because they would in the wild if it was there.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like on the teaser, the size, I sort of want to try to be like a bit bigger than what I can really have a good hookup rate with a lure. You know, that's why those the squids in front make it like a bigger presence too. You know. Yeah. But the one thing I don't really worry about how it runs that much. Like I don't care if it skips and all that kind of stuff, because I'm not trying to hook it. And I actually want it to like actually bounce out of the water a bit, because what about it? Like I don't want something that's going to dig in hard when I pull it away.
Oh yeah.
I want something that's going to pop out of the water and like I can rip it out.
Get it faster.
Yeah, because if it like digs in real hard, like oh man, you just struggle to get it away fast enough, you know. So that's why like I like running those angle face or the scallop face. That once you pop them,
they just skip across
just
the
skip
top.
across the surface, you know. Yeah, so that's why we're running stuff like that, and you'll notice that they run very, very differently to our lures, which you'll see the teaser skipping a lot, and you know how much I hate a skipping lure, but marlin love them. Yeah. And that's why I don't care with the teaser chain.
Yeah, because you're not trying to hook it.
Not trying to hook it at all. So that's what I'm saying about the lures just being targets to carry hooks, that we're trying to maximise our hook rate. And especially like when we're striped marlin fishing, I'm running very small lures with the little light gauge in them. All there is strictly for hookup rate, the little lures, but I still like to have the big size in the spread, and that's where the teasers come into their own, by putting that size and presence in there and action. Yeah. You know? So yeah, so that's the teaser chains and dredge sort of.
Yeah, we'll stay on the teaser chains a little bit more. So in terms of like setting a teaser chain up, so there's obviously, I did a couple of videos that are on my Instagram on how to set up with the electric and with the rope manually.
Really good.
Yeah, and then but I want to talk about the length of the teaser chain.
Okay,
It's
so
important.
It's real important that like. So what you mean by the length of the chain is like not how far we're putting it out.
Nah, it's how far the actual chain is.
Yeah, how long the chain is.
Yeah, long the chain is from the swivel to the lure.
Like yes. So where you connect it to your outrigger, and the position you need it to hang, so it's only just touching the water. Like the back of the skirt is only just touching the water. If you have it too long, and you cannot get it out of the water,
the fish ain't going to leave it alone.
No, it's not going to leave it alone, and that's the problem. I mean, I've had them there, you pull the teaser up out of the water and the thing's still circling underneath your rigger. You know, you can see the teaser up there, it wants it bad. Yeah. But if that was in the water, it would have climbed all over it. And that's the biggest thing, is like you must have your teaser when you pull it up to the rigger, it must only just touch the water, if not be out of the water. Otherwise, you'll never get the fish off the teaser.
Nah. Well, that happened with me last year when Joe's first fish that I caught out of Raglan, that ate the long corner, and then it mustn't have like felt the hooks, and it came forward and tried to eat the teaser after. Well, he came up behind the teaser. He was all lit up and he was gonna eat it, and I ripped the teaser out of the water, and then he sort of came after it, but then he felt obviously something's not right here, so he peeled off, and I was like, because we didn't realize what we'd hooked, because I didn't see the bite, so thought, it's weird, it's like it's swimming with us, because I was winding the line just in the rod holder, and I was like, it's like must be an albacore or something, and then seen it light up behind the teaser, and he was after the teaser, and when I pulled it out, the fish pissed off, and then it came back and it was circling the teaser hanging in the rigger while I was clearing the gear. And Joe's standing there wanting to go, oh, fuck, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Look how beautiful he is. And I
Yeah.
look over the side of the boat and the fucking marlin's underneath, like circling the teaser hanging out of the rigger.
Yeah.
And he had a hook in it. Why?
Yeah.
He had the lure on him. But
Yeah.
I don't know. He mustn't have been hooked yet. But
Yeah.
he ended up hooking during the fight.
That's what I said, though. They can see it, man.
Yeah, they
And
want it.
Yeah, and they're not good at getting out of the water to get them. So
Yeah.
that's why you want it out of the water.
Well,
you
today's one would have.
Yeah,
Fuck, he
yeah.
came right out of the water.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, so that's really important to have that length is crucial because, yeah, as I say, if you have it and it stops and the thing's still in the water, you aren't going to get that. It's going to be fixated on that and you ain't going to get the switch back onto the... The thing is, you really, as I mentioned before, you really don't want them to get your teaser. I mean, you can't stop them there. You know, you can't beat them, but
If you can.
you can.
Yeah.
You know, if you can, you want it.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. So that's the important thing is on the length is
Yep.
to do that.
And then in terms of your spread, so we talked about the length of the chain and where we want it. You've talked about where you want in terms of how long teaser should be, so that when you clear it, it's out of the water. So that's the main point, right? Then you talked about the presentation when it's in the water. You want it to be in that sort of traditional. Well, where were they on your
Wave
boat
2.
today? Yeah, wave 2.
Wave 2, yeah, which
Yep.
is traditionally short corner.
Yeah, yeah.
Still a lot of white water in that there though, eh?
Yeah.
You know.
Is that also a good thing though for the teaser if you don't want to eat it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because then they don't get a clear target on it either.
That's the whole point. This
Yeah.
is what we're trying to. This is the whole point of it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want them to be good at eating it.
Nah, you just want them to get pissed off
Yeah,
trying to eat it.
exactly.
And then
And
get
then-
that aggressive bite.
Yeah, that going away bite, man.
Yeah.
Which you saw
Oh yeah, saw it all right.
today, you know. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. So that, so yeah, we've talked about the length of the chain. We talked about the presentation of it. In terms of your spread, so if you're standing at the back of the boat, you're looking at your spread, and then you've got your, I guess you stagger because your corners are slightly
Yeah.
in and your riggers are out. Do you want your teasers inside your corners?
Yes.
In terms of width.
Yeah, you want to create that V
Yeah.
going out, you know, like
Yeah.
so as you look from the transom out, your lures are getting wider as they get further back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's
How did like a rough kind of gauge how far inside?
oh,
Doesn't
I
just needs to be inside.
yeah, but it like you're gonna have your dredge off of dredge boom, so that's gonna be a set distance. You know, then you're gonna have you want your teaser chain outside your dredge, and then your lures obviously outside those again. So it depends how long your rigger is, really.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean that's a bit of a hard one for me
Yeah.
to answer. And
Yeah.
like
But we
distance,
just want that V.
you
Like,
want to create that V.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want it as like okay? So if we're talking that, so you want to create that V. So if you go from your riggers being obviously they're going to be right out.
The widest. Yes.
They're going to be the widest. Do you want them to then be as wide as they possibly can as you come in?
Yeah, but it depends though. Like it
Depends,
depends
yeah.
on what your weather is and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. I mean,
Well, you want it to be in the water, right?
Yeah,
So if you get
that's
too
the
wide,
biggest
you've got
thing.
too much angle.
yeah, you
they
got too
can-
much height.
Yeah.
So yes, you do want to have as much width and height as you possibly can without coming out of the water.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
probably the best way to explain it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
your lure part.
Yeah.
And then your teaser would just be inside those.
Just be inside those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose because if you get that fish on, he's going back. You want him to be able to see it when he comes back past it, right?
Yeah.
And if you're say outside it, or like directly in line with it,
Well,
when he falls back, it's going to come straight
You
over
got to
his
think
head.
about it. It's got to be wider because it's always in the clear. Like if you had it inside, it'd be back into the white water again.
Yeah.
You know?
Makes sense.
Yeah, so that's like, I don't know, I mean, all of these are just theories, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I never spoken to one. You know, but like, it's just over time of what you watch, how you see the fish react. And I'm a big, like, I always watch what the fish is doing and then try to think about, okay, why did it do that? And how do they act on different boats and all sorts of stuff like that. But that little thing about the clear water, I'm sort of definitely interested in having really clear windows for my lures, which I never really paid attention to before. But then, you know, you get older and you see more stuff and your knowledge pool grows. You're like, okay, maybe there's something to that, you know, and not necessarily what we're talking about now, but just in general, you know, as your knowledge pool grows, you're like, oh, yeah, that's why that was happening maybe, you know. So none of the stuff that you actually confirm,
Yeah.
but you're like, oh, yeah, you've probably got a bit of a handle on it now, you know.
Yeah, well, a lot of, like I even find it with my own fishing, a lot of what goes on is like gut feel.
Yeah, it's huge.
You know, like you're there and you're like, or like for whatever reason, or whatever it is, like, you know, what lure you put out, all of that, it's like a gut feeling, right? And you go back to what you know. Like the amount of people that will run, like we spoke to a guy last night that talked about runs the same 4 lures, and his 5th lure he leaves up to his mates that they can pick, but he picks those 4 because he's caught fish on those 4.
It's a mental game.
Yeah, so it's
confidence.
like,
you know, it's like anything you do, it's confidence.
Yeah.
You know, but that gut feeling is massive, man. Like it's like today. I don't know if there's a blue marlin there, but I'm like, this is where they are. If there's blue marlin in the bay and they're out of the Cape, this is where you find them, man. And it's not like it's just an area. Yeah, there was bait and there's structure there, and you're like, I'm just gonna mow it here. And the biggest thing you would have noticed, man, today, is that we ran very different lines to any other boat. I don't understand. Like, I'm fishing and all I'm doing is going across the current. Like, it makes sense to me that the fish are going to be moving one way or the other with that current. Like, they're not going to be moving. Like, and if I'm intersecting a wider pattern, this is what I'm saying. I don't, you know, if I'm going down that same way as the current,
You're only fishing as wide as your spread.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Little window.
Yeah. So that I think is you know, that plays a big part in it too. You know.
There's another podcast topic. We're just coming up with heaps here.
Yeah, this is the problem when you try to pick this one on this teasers, man. Like, it's actually quite a difficult.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but it's all relatable, right? Like,
yeah, totally.
You know, it all relates back to what we're talking about, and obviously we plan to do this podcast.
It's huge. Like, the teasers, once you get it set up, so effective that, I mean, on this boat here is not as crazy as my old boat, the Spellbound, but that boat, I don't even watch the lures, man. Like, the amount of fish that we came on the teaser was just, it was crazy. It was like 75-80% of the fish came on the teaser chain first.
Yeah.
Very rarely did we get a bite on the rigger. It was on the teaser chain, drop back and eat the corner. Like, that's just what happened. It was just crazy, you know. So yeah, they're a very integral part of the fishing. The one thing I will say is, like, as far as the person running the teasers, they need to watch them. Because the fish are going to come directly to you, you know. So if you don't want to worry about watching your gear and just look forward and drive, don't really fish with the teasers. You know?
You'll turn around and they'll be gone.
Yeah, and it happens fast.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Well, we got a good story about that in the Kubota last year.
Yeah. That was an interesting one, eh? Like, pretty green crew.
Yeah.
A boat that you couldn't see the cockpit, and everyone's like, "Oh, let's put the teaser out." I'm like, "No, I'm not putting the teaser out, man." Like, and they're like, "Why not?" I says, "Because you guys aren't going to watch it." "Oh no, we will definitely watch it, Bonze." I'm like, "You're not going to watch it." "Oh, come on, let's put it out." I'm like, "Oh," against my better judgment, out they put it. Sure enough, like 10 minutes. It's all marlin all over the teaser. Teaser rod's doubled over. I can't see what's going on. Next minute I hear like screaming and that. I'm like, well, pull it in, like, you know. So yeah, that's you there to save the day, mate.
Yeah, well, like that. But there's there again, right? Like, we were running that same line all day.
Yeah, as soon as you put
we
the
might
teaser
have run that fish over.
Yeah.
And he didn't like what he saw, and that teaser went out. Presentation.
It's extremely important,
Yeah.
the presentation and getting fish up in your spread.
Yeah.
And I harp on about this. If you are not getting them up and into your spread on the, like, pretty much on the surface, you aren't going to get a bite out of them, man.
No.
Like, and it blows me away, you know, like guys like Architoma Forlers, yes, you do catch fish. There's no doubt about it. And, I mean, there's going to be some very good people around the world that argue about this, but blue marlins, not so much, I don't think. But with your stripies and that kind of thing, your teasers and getting the fish up is huge part. You know.
Or you like tell me a trailer boat in New Zealand that's consistent and successful that doesn't tow a dredge and a teaser chain. Like I don't think no one that I know that does consistently well.
I don't know.
Doesn't have a teaser chain and a dredge.
No.
Or at least one of, well, at least the dredge. Say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
Not so important, I don't think, with the big boats compared to the trailer boat.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, with the trailer boat, it just creates that presentation.
Yeah.
Right, like, you know, bigger footprint in the water, more going on. It's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I like the look of what's
Yeah,
happening there.
more consistent pace.
Yeah.
Like more consistent wake.
Yeah.
You know, not dictated by sea conditions so much. All of those kind of things.
Yeah,
But yeah, I just saw it like with those sonar boats, and then watching, as I said, what we had come through the factory and boat setup, and that presentation is a massive part of it. You know.
yeah. Well, back to that when we put that teaser out that day, because even that process to what happened there, because I'm just trying to remember what lures we had in the corners, but I'd swapped one out, didn't I? So I put the teaser in, and then I put the Trojan in the corner behind it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what's going to happen is a stripey's going to come up on that, and if I think we had a big, was it the ballistic maybe?
Yeah.
And behind it,
Yeah.
which is what the one ate today. But yeah, I was like, oh, I'll put the Trojan in there, it'll hold him better,
Yeah.
be an easier target when he falls backing away. And it, like, 10 minutes later, because I went down and got you a drink from downstairs, and I walked upstairs to give Bonze a drink, and then I like passed him the water, and I turned around to give Brad one, and Brad was sitting out the back on the boat that we're in, had a like viewing platform, was a big bloody gin palace,
Yeah.
70-footer, Jimmy's boat, Jimmy Buffett, and Brad was sitting out the back, and I just saw him jump up, and I knew the body language just from watching. He didn't need to say shit. I knew exactly what. So I threw the other water bottle on the ground and ran downstairs, and I remember just stepping out onto the deck. And I looked up, because where he looked to me looked like he was looking back on a rigger. I was like, okay, the fish is, you know, like it's going to be on the rigger. And I stepped out, and I remember I just looked up and just see this marlin, mouth open, right behind the teaser, bang, just grabs it. I was like, shit. And I'd looked to the side, and my teaser rod was like folded over on itself and just peeling line out. And then it managed to get it off him, tease it up, and then he just dropped straight back on the corner, ate it.
Yeah.
It was mean.
It was mean. Yeah.
But we're lucky, like, because we
lucky.
let him have it.
Yeah,
Like,
too much.
Yeah.
But, you know, like as I said, you can't stop them,
Nah.
you know? So,
We could have done a better job, though.
a lot better. But, oh man, this is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
People don't know. It's Green Crew,
Yeah.
you know? So, yeah, but that is, I've sounded like a stuck record, but yeah, that's the whole, whole thing of these teasers is exactly that presentation, giving more commotion, giving other dimensions to your spread, and all you're trying to do is create reaction.
Okay. Now let's talk about let's look at the process of like setting the boat to run the gear.
Okay.
So there's
So
obviously
it starts with your riggers, really,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah, it
Like,
does.
so if we did the riggers first, it's important that you have a good set of riggers. Like, if I was going to encourage anyone to spend any money on their boat, would be like, when you're setting up, is instead of buying lots of rods and reels and stuff like that, you can get away with a couple to start with, is spend your money on a good set of riggers. And by that, I don't mean you need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. There's some very good, like telescopic riggers around now, which when locked out and set up correctly, for like anywhere between $1,000 and $1,500, $1,600, you can get an extremely good set of outriggers that are stiff and, as I say, set up correctly, work very, very well.
Yeah.
You know, and then obviously you can start to go and spend, you know, it's endless what you can spend on the set of riggers, but you want stiff, good angle and length.
Yeah.
Length is important. Like on a trailer boat, for example, you want to go as long as you can really, and transport. Transport's a big thing. That's pretty much what dictates how long you can go.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely want the length.
Yeah.
You know.
So if you're thinking like a, I don't know, 6.5 meter plus boat, 20 footers.
Yeah, if you can travel with them. Yeah. So my boat here, this
18.
You've got 18 footers on this one. Yeah. And your standard pole length, your minimum that you want to go with, which is like your standard, is 16 feet.
Yeah.
So that's really the 15 to 16 feet is the minimum you want, regardless. Like even your boat minimum would be
mine are 15'6".
Yeah, that's the minimum really you want. You know, because the thing is, you need that height and you need the width to get that. And like a lot of the old riggers were like the fiberglass ones, and they're very flexy, and they're rigged badly. And just don't present well at all. You know, so that would be my first thing that I'd concentrate on, is getting a good set of riggers, getting them well set up. And there's, like, as I say, you've got some good videos on that on your Instagram page, how you got yours set up, and people can just copy that, you know, and they can then change it to however big of a boat. Like the setup's still the same.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that's the first bit of the puzzle for the teasers, is the outrigger, and then running the actual teaser off the pole. You've got two ways of doing it. You've got your hand line, which you started with, and all that entails is, as far as the rigging goes, of the outrigger, you have your double halyards, which is like all 4 lures that you're towing in the riggers. Then you're going to have your teaser chain connected to your rigger pole, and it's got, through a hand line, it's got a pulley that stays on your hand line the whole time, and then you have like we just create a loop with a bit of 400 pound on your outrigger, and that's your fixed point, and that's normally just below where your first outrigger halyard would run. Right, so it
sits just down inside your corner.
Just down inside your corner. So you would create a fixed point there, and from there we would have an 80 pound piece of mono that clips in there to the swivel pulley, which is connected to your, which is what the
rope runs through. Yeah.
So the reason for that is, if you get a fish on one, you can still, if you get a fish on one, you can still pull it away from the fish with the hand line, and it hangs in the rigger. So that's the main thing. But the reason why you put the breakaway in is, so if the fish comes and grabs your teaser, it actually just snaps it off, snaps the 80 pound and breaks it off the rigger. It doesn't break your rigger. And if you have that tied straight to the 400 pound with the rope through the pulley, it's going to be all bad news. You're going to be buying another outrigger.
Yeah. Well, in my boat, they probably tip it over.
Yeah, exactly. So, so that teaser chat is important. And then you've got the second style is with the electric reels that we're talking about. But this is where it's really important. Guys ask me a lot, I need to triple rig them so the hand line goes through the ring. I'm like, you do not want to do that at all. Because it is, like with the teaser chain off a hand line, you do not want the third halyard with the ring. And I'll talk about the third halyard with the ring in a second, but you do not want any rope or anything going through the extra halyard, because when it breaks off the rigger, you want it just to break off and go, like, be clear, so it doesn't go through any lines. Because if it is connected through your rigger and it goes through an extra halyard, it's going to rip all your halyards off as well. We'll break it off the pole, but since that rope's going actually through a ring on your third halyard, it's going to rip that off as well. So you could potentially rip your rigger off again there. So going to that about running the teasers off the electric reels, which is obviously my preferred option because it's fast. Nothing wrong with the hand line.
Well,
obviously.
the best thing is it's so good for clearing the gear.
Yeah,
But we can talk about that in a bit.
So the setup with the electric reel, and we can get into what kind of ones that we use, but just at the moment, it doesn't have to be electric reel either too, by the way. It can just be a teaser reel. As I say, I still prefer the electric reel because it's so easy. But it could be any kind of reel that you've got with a drag. And the important thing is got to have a drag. There is I'll talk about the reels in a bit, but there is one reel I will tell you that I won't recommend. And it's not a brand or anything; it's just a style. But as far as running your teaser out of the rigger off a reel, the first of all is that you have that fixed point that we just talked about on the pole just below your corner.
Yep.
Same thing on the with running it for the electric reel. But what we do is put a third halyard in onto your rigger. So you're running 3 halyards, not 2 now. And that third halyard has a ring in it. And instead of having a breakaway where your teaser pulley
Can crack off.
Yeah, it can crack off. We have a fixed point now, so that it's like 400 piece of 400 pound or an eye or something. Connect your pulley to that, and since you have drag on your reel, you don't have that thing of breaking off because the fish will grab it and the reel will let the drag out. But that goes through that third halyard. It's got the stainless steel ring. It goes through that, and what that is there for is so you can get the teaser back and adjust the height or pull it in the boat or that. But as opposed to the one on the hand line, if you had the hand line through that ring, as I say, it would snap off the rigger and go through your halyards. Whereas with the electric reel or with the reel, it's got drag and you need that fixed point. You do not want it to break off the rigger.
No.
And then when you pull it up, the teaser's hanging in the right height.
Yeah.
So, this is all... I started off doing exactly what I just told you not to do. And I learnt the hard way. It's a disaster. Next minute, I got no halyards left on my outrigger. Burns the whole lot off. Disaster.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't know.
Yeah.
And that's how you learn. So...
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the sort of rigger setup, and it's hard to explain. It's hard to visualize on a podcast.
Yeah, but it's important to talk about the importance of it. And some people are good at visualizing, so they'll see.
Yeah. So as far as the actual medium to pull these things, so obviously a rope, just using a 4 or 5 mil cord that's nice on your hands.
Yeah. White.
Yeah. Well, white, black, brown.
That's a funny story that I'll just tell that one quickly. So when I set my boat up, I obviously had seen, boats and that had teasers and they all had black cord. So then Bonze was like, well, this is what you want to do. Put a piece of 400 pound round, clip your pulley on, piece of 80 pound breakaway on there. So if the fish grabs it, can snap off and then, just run some cord. I was like, sweet. So I went to Hammer Hardware up in... I was in Monganui, I think, in Cable Bay. And then I went in there, they didn't have any black cord, they only had white. And I text Bonze, is white cord all good, or does it have to be black? Yeah.
But that's
clearly didn't matter, because they only had white. And you're like, don't worry, white's fine.
Yeah. But that's just me messing with people's heads, man.
Yeah,
because fishermen are so easy to mess with mentally.
Yeah.
It's so good. And it's this whole thing is in your head. This whole game that we're doing is in your head. So yeah, of course I'm going to mess with it.
Yeah, well, it's even the same, right? Remember when we first set my riggers up, didn't have any black mono.
Yeah.
So I did it with clear, and I was just like, oh man, gonna be no good. Clear mono and white rope, you're gonna be shit. And then caught 9 in the first season.
Yeah, there you go. So,
and I'd caught 2 in 5 years before that, or 4 years, or whatever it was.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that's the hand line. You just want something like easy to like pull. So on your reel, I'm running I'm running 150 pound because I really want it to I want it to be able to still be strong enough to give it a good pull, and of course you still got the drag, but I also want it, if it all goes pear-shaped, I want it to break. Yeah, I know I lose my teaser, but I still got my outrigger.
Yeah.
You know, so teaser's a lot cheaper to replace than an outrigger.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, running 150 on that, and the other thing with that is that it's 150 trace. It's like 1.3 mil or 1.4 mil. It's actually good to pull on your hands if you have to. I try not to do the hand teasing.
Yep.
That's a whole nother ball game. A lot of guys do it, but on the trailer boat, a lot of guys on the big boat do it. They'll pull the teaser in by hand because it's fast. But on the trailer boat, it's such a short tease that, and we haven't got much room. I don't want all that line lying around in the boat. It'll tangle on something real easy, and it'll be a disaster, you know. So I just push the button and hope for the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I've got the reels all spooled with, and you want the spool full.
How much drag you have on it?
I have as much drag as I can, as I can pull it off. It's hard for me to pull it off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not just enough drag to pull. Put it this way, it's not just enough drag to pull the teaser. I want it I have to actually really pull it to pull it off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I've got it pretty tight.
Yep.
On the reels I've got it pretty much locked up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but they don't have much drag.
Oh yeah.
I think they're maxed out at 16 kilos.
Oh okay.
So it's not heaps.
Yeah.
It's no. I mean, you know, I probably realistically got 12 kilos on them, like I would at strike on a on a heavy tackle lure, you know.
Yeah.
So not huge drag.
Yeah, because I was quite surprised at how you think 80 pound out of the rigger. You think that's 80 pounds, that's 37 kilos to break that.
Yeah.
Fuck, they snap it like that.
Yeah, but it's the shock.
Yeah.
It's the shock, man.
Yeah, it's funny,
It's
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Even with your clips and that, and having them at 5 kilos, but they pop out of that like nothing.
Yeah. Easy.
But when you try and pull it out, you're like,
Right.
oh man, shit. But you got to remember, you're doing 7-8 knots. There's the weight of the lure, which is probably already sitting the clip at 2-3 kilos. It's only another 2 kilos, bang, and it's out.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So
Yeah, because I suppose some listeners will probably think, 80 pounds, that's strong. Wouldn't you do it with 15 or?
No, you.
But you actually want to be able to. You
to
want
grab
enough
it a bit.
there.
If it grabs it, still you can
pull it off.
Pull it off them. Yeah, because that's the thing is you don't How do I say this? You go back to seeing you had a lot of fish fade off your teaser. Majority of those were when you had hand line, right? Yeah, so it knocks it out, and then that thing just lulls in the water because it's dull. So you think about that, it's just coming hot and it's knocked it down. I'm like, yeah, man, it's knocked it down and it's all fired up, and then it's knocked it down, it just goes dead in the water and sinks back.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
That's killed that whole reaction.
Yeah, that instinct in the fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of why you didn't get many bites off your teaser.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just theorizing, but that is exactly what happens. And that's why I personally like having them off the reel.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, because even if they grab it, you're going to rip it off them fast, and then it's the instinct's back again.
It's got action.
Yeah.
As soon as you break it off the rigger, it's lost all its action. So not that, it's a compromise.
Yeah.
But it's a lot cheaper to do it that way, and yes, it's going to work probably 90% of the time. But that is a difference with having it on a reel.
Yeah, well, hands on the deck too, right?
Yeah.
So another factor for me going electric is the fact that my boat's only small, so normally I'm only fishing with 2 guys. You get a fish on, you got 4 lures, a teaser and the dredge out.
You got a lot of gear going
Yeah.
on.
So you've got like, and then the angler's got to get to the rod.
Yeah.
So literally their job, because they normally just sit in the passenger seat, or if you're Joe Murray, you lie asleep on the floor all day.
Yeah.
But he's good. Yeah, he gets heaps of bites when he sleeps.
Yeah. Only problem is you can't let him touch the teaser reel.
Yeah.
You just break it.
Yeah, well, that was his one job.
Yeah.
So that's what I tell my anglers. Like, their job is the fish comes in and it eats.
Yeah.
Your job is to put the gimbal. I press the button on the dredge reel.
Yeah.
Like, just press the button and put the gimbal on.
Yeah.
And then by the time they've generally done that,
Yeah.
then I've cleared whatever rod is on the side that the fish ate.
Yeah.
So then we've got one side of the boat free.
Yeah, it's fast,
Yeah.
man.
And then I just press the button.
Yeah.
As soon as the fish comes up, press the button
Yeah.
on my teaser reel, which
Yeah.
is right beside me. Just push that.
Yeah.
Both of those are out. And
Yeah.
then now I've only got to get 3 rods out of the water.
Yeah.
But before, when I had the ropes, the person on the rod would have to pull the dredge in,
Yeah, man.
which I had double purchased. So it's like 40 meters of rope,
Yeah.
hand over hand.
Yeah.
It takes a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if we had that blue marlin on today,
Oh,
like,
mate.
mate, we'd had to get after it with the dredge out.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah, like,
It would have taken way too long.
the thing is too, like, and it's just today's conditions were not conducive to,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but,
But
yeah.
if you had 4-5 people on the boat,
Oh.
you can do that.
Yeah,
You got
exactly.
2 guys, this is your
Yeah.
job. Fish comes up, rip that in. You start clearing gear, I clear gear, you pick up the rod.
yeah,
You're sweet.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah,
with 2 people,
Yeah.
you need, the electric is a massive help.
yeah, so on that note, there's quite a few options
Hmm.
for that now, which is really good. I mean, I don't know if I should mention brands or what,
Hmm.
but like I've got Daiwas on one boat, and I really like them. I've got the Tenacoms, and they actually, I had the drags upgraded on those. I put a Carbotex drag in it, and man, that thing can pull. I really like it.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing with them is they quite often, like all the electric reels, have an auto stop on them,
Oh, yep.
and you have to be onto it because it'll leave the teaser in the water.
Yeah.
So you
Oh, you
gotta-
can take that out.
That shows you how much technical knowledge I
Yeah.
have made, you know?
I've taken it out on mine.
Yeah, so...
You can, because it normally stops at, I think, 6 meters.
Yeah.
And then again
Yeah.
at 1 or whatever. But I think, yeah, I did it when I got mine. I went through the manual. Oh, no, I saw it on a video on YouTube.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So maybe I'll share that link
Yeah,
on.
that'd be cool if you
yeah,
did, because I didn't
with
know you
this
could
podcast.
do that.
Yeah, and you can turn it off so
Yeah.
that it will just go back to 0.
Yeah, that's really good if you
Yep.
can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then I also have one called a Banex, which is a very cheap one. And I actually really like it because it's got a high-speed button on it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I just push the high-speed button. It has no stop on it either, which I really like, so it just
Yeah.
slams it into the rig, and I have a bead there that hits. So, like, I get a fish up, I just push the high-speed button, it rips it in. Downfall of those is they don't have very much drag,
Oh, yeah.
but they got enough for what we do, the teasers that I pull here.
Yeah.
Have been smoked on it a couple of times, and yeah, durability, we'll see if it lasts.
Yeah.
You know, but but the dial has been real good, and then I also have a Seaborg
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. That
yeah.
thing's an animal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like everything. You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, so any of those electric reels, make sure they're full
Hmm.
of line because you want them to like. And the other thing is too, guys, I get asked a lot is, can I use it for puka fishing as well? The same reel? Yeah, you can, but don't put the braid on your teaser because if you never want to grab it. Like if you have to grab it, you will never grab the braid. Like it'll just
Cut
tear
your
you
fingers
apart.
off.
Yeah. So there's that, and then the last reel, which I really don't like, is the pancake reel that's getting a lot of guys that are starting to use.
Oh,
And
yeah.
not
Is that just like
yeah,
a...
it's got like it looks like a flat thing with a handle in it, and they don't act like they got a drag system in it, but the whole spool moves around and the handle moves around.
Oh,
Oh man, it's a killer.
like a fly reel.
Yeah,
like
it's
fishing
exactly
fly
like
reel.
a fly reel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine you get that one today that smokes you on the teaser, and you try to get in there to pull it in, and that thing drills you. It's like I'm waiting for somebody to lose a hand on the teaser reel. You know,
Yeah,
like
break your knuckles.
Yeah. So that was the one I don't recommend.
Yeah.
You know, you're better off to save up your money and get like a better system than that. Like, and if it's electrical, it's manual. Just
If it's manual, go to a rope.
or else like a Tiagra or something like
just
that.
something
you know,
like that. Yeah, you can just wind it.
But so that would be the reels on that, and then that's for your surface chains, your teaser chains or your teasers. Then on your dredges, this is where it starts to get really, how would I say, it starts to cost money. So it starts anywhere out from $1,000 to run your dredge off an electric reel, through to $10,000, through to more. So at the top end, and this is where like you used to see it a lot. Like, I mean, most boats in the States got 2 LP reels. That's the industry standard, SP 1200. It's a beast of a reel. That's your standard dredge reel. But I mean, in New Zealand, that's $10,000 a piece. It's a lot of money. But if you want to be able to pull big dredges off your outriggers and stuff like that, that's the kind of setup you're going to have to spend. Like, so just to put it into perspective, average boat setup that I do complete with teaser reels and like LP reels and everything, you're looking at around the $30,000 mark by the time it's all done. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And, you know, guys ask, I want to run all this stuff, like, and I tell them, it's going to be $30,000. They're like, that's ridiculous. That's how much it costs, mate. Like, you know, it's just, it's just.
Well, reel's $10,000 a pop.
Yeah, if we could do it cheaper, we'd do it. But then that's for the ultimate setup, is that kind of thing. Then we take it down a step, and we do like the high end electric reels in the smaller sizes, like the Seaborg, for example. I think that's nearly a $3,000 or just under $2,500 electric reel, but it's amazing. It can pull a lot. So put that in with a carbon dredge boom, adjustable dredge boom, and you're looking around about the $5,000 mark for a dredge setup. And then you start to go down from there. You've got I tell you, the other one that's very good is the Shimano Beastmaster. That thing pulls really hard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's another good one. But the reason I say that is because guys are wanting to run big dredges. Those are they'll handle bigger dredges. Like, you're asking a lot out of these little reels. So the next step down from that, which you can only really run strip dredges and dredges that don't pull hard, like very low drag dredges, low weight dredges, is your like Tanacom range. And they all need to be like double purchased like setups. It's hard to explain on a podcast what that is, but you'll see it on your videos how you've got it set up. But you can't expect to do, like, people have to be realistic what these setups can do. They can pull little dredges. They cannot pull big dredges like what the LPs and what a Seaborg and that can pull. You know, so basically the more money you spend, the bigger and more sophisticated dredges you can pull. You know, but for New Zealand, the average trailer boat, that Tanacom with a strip dredge is extremely effective.
Yeah, with the carbon.
And the carbon boom is extremely price
efficient.
efficient.
So what would that'd be like?
$2,000.
$2,000 total, eh?
Yeah, $2,000 total. Yeah, maybe not quite that. You know, it depends. You get like anywhere from, you probably ought to do it $1,800.
Yeah.
As far
and then
as,
you have a little bit of rigging, like some line and
but I mean the rigging for the trailer boat, you can go with just like 400-pound mono.
Yep.
For the bigger boats, I'd be going with the 400-pound braid, because you want capacity.
So you can get it further back.
Yeah, because you're going to naturally, your weight's going to be further back, so you want to go with like a 400-pound braid. The trailer boat, not so much, because you're only having it out behind the boat like 20 meters, you know, like in total. So you've, like I think one of those reels takes like maybe 50 or 60 meters of 400 pound mono. So you can get away with that. You can't do that on the big boat. You need the braid on that. So as far as the spooling, you spool it with braid there. And as it's different because like with the dredge, you're not pulling it by hand or anything, you know. You don't have to worry about the braid being on your reel, you know. And you want the less drag, the better.
Yeah.
So that's like your dredge setup is you get what you pay for.
Yeah. Yeah. And the strip dredges are like extremely successful, like for our fishery here.
Well,
So if you think about, you know, like even if you're not quite sure and you want to get into it, like that's the route you go down.
yeah, because you can use it for everything. You can use it for kingy fishing, live baiting. You can use it for live baiting for marlin. Use it for everything, you know. The thing is with dredges, like every one of them has got a pro and a con. You know, some have got like what you talk about, like a strip dredge has got movement, flash, all that kind of stuff, but it hasn't got durability. It wears out, you know.
Yeah, especially if the fish get hold of it.
Yeah, you know, so you've got that as a con. Then you've got stuff like what you talked about with the plastic baits that are very, very versatile, but you haven't got any movement in.
Yeah, real durable.
Yeah,
but
real durable, but do they give you that vibration? Do they give you that flash? I don't know. You know, so you've got that. Then you've got, like, obviously the wear on your bar. The dredge bar itself, the strip dredge and all those kind of ones that don't have much drag, your bar lasts a long time. Start to put heavier stuff on, like I say a shad with paddle tail and that, there's a lot of pull on your bar. So the bar doesn't last as long. And that's the whole thing is there's like, a dredge is not a maintenance free item. Like guys go, oh man, I've had this for 2 years and it's worn out. I'm like, yeah, well geez, you've done pretty well on it. You know, like they do take maintenance, you know. I mean, I've mentioned it in the past, but one of the guys that I work for, the importance of the dredge and how much money he spent. I was spending like $400 or $500 a day US on a dredge, plus a mate.
Yeah.
You know, so a dredge.
They rig baits into their dredge.
Yeah. It's another level.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's highly effective, but unless you're committed to doing that, it's a lot of time, and most people, especially how we fish here, it's not an option, you know.
No.
But I don't feel undergunned by running artificial
No.
in any form, you know. I like all the artificial squid, anything, just. But I do like a dredge that's all one of the same thing. Don't like a dredge that's half one thing, half another thing, and that personally. But that's just me. It doesn't mean it's not a marlin.
Yeah, well.
But
yeah.
I just think if you've never been to a bait ball and there's like, you know, there's a squid, there's a little mudflap tuna, there's a, you know, like, oh, I mean, maybe there is, I don't know.
Yeah.
Normally to rock up to a meatball, it's all one thing.
Yeah.
With the tunas eating it, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's your dredge setup there. I mean, you start to get into like with that dredge, you get into the weight that you need, how far back you can pull it. Like it's quite a fine line of like what you're gonna need to pull it. Like guys go, oh, what weight do I need for this? I'm like, I know pretty well now what you need because I've done it for so long. Like a guy comes in, I want to get a strip dredge with a boom and a rope to pull it. Okay, I know you're going to need an 8-pound weight for that. But I know that if you pulled that on a electric reel with a mono or braid on it, I know we can go back down to 6-pound weight because you're not going to need as much weight to overcome the drag of the rope.
Yeah, to pull it down.
Yeah. You know, so there's all these little factors that go into it. But yeah, you need enough weight on it to keep it under the surface. You never want it breaking the surface.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, that's sort of that's all the gear and costs and that for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can do everything like on your dredge as well. You don't need to have obviously don't need to have a electric reel.
Yeah.
You can have a dredge.
So if
with
you
a
went
rope.
down the rope factor, what would that cost you?
No, looking at a boom like $450.
And then a strip dredge.
Strip dredged, so about $1,000 for a dredge and a boom set up with a rope,
Yep.
roughly, give or take 100
Yep.
each side, depending on
Yep.
what
And
you
then
choose.
to go to electric with the Tenacom, you'd be like
Looking
double
at-
that.
Yes, easily.
Yeah.
So you'd be
Oh, a
looking
little
at,
bit more. You'd be 3 times that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well,
Oh,
you
no?
wouldn't be 2.5 times.
Yeah.
Because you'd be 2,000 for the basically 1,800 to 2,000 for the reel and boom, plus your dredge, which would
Yep.
be another 600. So yeah, 2,500 for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's double.
Yeah.
That's 2 and a bit times.
Yep.
Yes, it's considerably more expensive. So, yeah, but that's the next step.
Yeah. Personally, would you go if you were getting into fishing and you could do it with the rope? Would you? Well, you could only afford to do it with the rope. Would
Yeah.
you do it with the rope and then later upgrade, or would you hold off and then go straight to electric?
No, I'd do it with the rope.
Just get it in there.
Yeah, just get it in there. I'd do it with the rope, eh?
Yeah.
But I'd do it with the rope and a boom. If I didn't have a boom for my dredge and I had to tie it off the transom, no, I wouldn't do it.
Wouldn't run it.
I wouldn't run it. I'd just run my surface chain.
Yeah.
But yeah, because the thing is, a dredge is extremely effective if it's set up correctly. Otherwise, it's a right pain in the ass. If it's just tied off the transom on a cleat,
Well, the thing is, you got to get it out of the water
it's a nightmare.
when you're on the fish.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, and the
it's-
boom. Oh, placement of boom. That's probably another thing.
Yeah.
Like if you're running on a trailer boat in New Zealand and you're running a dredge boom, where do you put it? I know, but
Yeah, you want it as far forward as possible, like up under the rigger really is ideal, or close to the rigger, on the opposite side to what you drive on. Because you always want to fight the fish on the side you drive on, right?
yeah,
So that gives you, if you have it in that position, it gives you all the way from the point of where your dredge is, all the way around the transom and up the driver's side. So it gives you a big fighting area. If you say you had it on your driver's side, that eliminates you from fighting on that side pretty much.
yeah,
So yeah, it sticks out at right angles
yeah,
to the boat and normally under the rigger.
yeah. Yeah, I'm lucky on my boat. They're in front of the rigger. My teaser and my dredge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're like right forward.
Yeah.
But that's because of the smaller boat, and I can do that.
But the one thing a lot of people don't understand is how hard they pull. They pull extremely hard.
Or Joe found that out when he free spooled my reel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we're asking a lot of these little reels to
Yeah.
do these jobs. They're pretty amazing what they can do.
Well, I just will say one thing on that. Like I mentioned it to you earlier, but with mine, because that was one thing that people said, oh, you know, I wouldn't go electric on your boat because they're in the weather. You know, like they get splashed and that because they're on the boom and they're out over the side of the
Yeah.
boat. And they do get wet, and you know, like last couple of days fishing here, it got shitty at times, and they're getting smoked with water. And it was the same last year when I fished with them. And then we have the incident at Hokianga when we had a fish come up. My mate pressed the button to bring the dredge in. The fish fell off, and we're resetting the gear. And normally I set the dredge, but he went to set it, and he free spooled it while we're doing 7 knots. And obviously with a 6-pound weight in the dredge, it took off and bird's nest, and he's lucky he didn't lose a finger, but he jammed his fingers like to slow it down, and then what happened is it ended up snapping the feeding eye off across the reel, which is a whole nother story because we ended up getting a fish and then the reel jammed because it wasn't feeding it properly and whatever. But when I pulled that reel apart to replace that part, when we were up camping, the boys sent it up to me. That thing didn't have a touch of salt inside it.
Yeah.
Like I look after my gear when I come back and clean it, but if it's in the elements and it's getting hammered, like I don't pull the reel apart and clean the inside.
No.
And it was like,
Yeah,
man. So I was really impressed by that because a lot of people said, "Oh yeah, that's mean." Like, yeah, you'll have to replace that in like after a season, and it's what, halfway through the second season now.
Yeah.
And it didn't have a touch in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got heaps of faith in them. So for the people out there to think, I'm not going to spend the money because I don't want to have to replace it. Like if you look after it, like it'll work well for you.
I've had mine for a long time.
Yeah.
But the other things too, they're not doing any work. They only do a little bit of work when you need it.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's the other thing too is like the setup we've got now with the portable batteries.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing to talk about.
Yeah, that's game changer, right? Because a lot of guys don't want to have to rewire the boat for having
Someone to plug the cords into.
Yeah. Because there's a big difference when you have them on the alligator clips
Yeah.
as to being actually
Like a
hard
plug.
wired. Yeah, it's huge. Their power difference, You know, so those little batteries that come now are absolute game changer.
Sea Harvester?
Yeah, Sea Harvester, George. Yeah, George is the man behind those. And he's got. I think he's on about his third generation one now. I think it is. And they're pretty amazing batteries. They last forever. Like I'll fish a week, won't charge it, and it's still on full power pretty much. And I mean, I've pulled my teasers in a handful of times. You know.
If you're lucky, you pull them in a few more.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey.
Exactly. Yeah. Hopefully you flatten that battery. But I mean, I've run that thing heaps with the battery, and it just saves so much wiring.
Yeah, well, the original one, you couldn't check how much battery it had.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then I was charging the battery before every time I went fishing.
Yeah.
He said to me yesterday, I didn't realise the new one, you can check
Yeah.
the level. I was like, it's got these percentages,
Yeah.
but it never shows anything,
Yeah.
so I don't know if it's got any battery.
Yeah.
And you're like, you just hold your finger down here, and then it's like lights up, and it's like, it's full.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, sweet. And then fished, 4 days with it.
Yeah.
It's still full.
Still full.
Yeah.
So I mean, the only time it really draws any power is when you hit the throttle on
And
it.
it rips it in.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing I will say. Like there's obviously a great power source because it's got a lot of grunt. Like
Yeah.
the real cranks
Yeah,
on
it
it.
likes it.
Yeah, it likes it more than the cord.
yeah.
Like I've had my boat's wired for plugs with the cords, and that was mean. But then when I put the battery on, I was just like, whoa. And even though my boat's wired for the cords, I still use the battery packs.
Yeah.
Because it eliminates something else in the boat to be in the way, to trip over, to go wrong. Like just the battery pack straps onto the butt of the rod.
Yeah.
Like it's mint.
It's the same thing though. I got them on in my boat in Kona. I have the teaser reels in the top.
Yep.
I just have a battery connected to those each
Yep.
because it's so much easier than running all the wiring.
Yeah.
And then I can take it all out when I leave, and there's nothing left there. There's nothing in the elements to,
To age and
Yeah.
weather and
So I really like the battery setup. So it makes it super easy to do. So installation can be a lot simpler than it was before, having to run wires and stuff.
Yeah, no, they do. They're a great piece of equipment, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
real good bit of it.
And they're great for I don't that much, but I fish between two boats as well.
Yeah, you can take it on
my
any
dad's
boat.
boat and my boat.
Yeah.
And then I can just
And that goes back to those dredge booms now that we have with the adjustable butts on them. I think there are 10 adjustments on them.
yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's like everything, as I said before.
Yeah.
It's to get what you pay for. But,
Yeah.
I mean, you can take that on any boat. And a lot of guys as well, when they set up their boats, and I've mentioned this as well in the past, is they have these brand new boats, beautiful boats, and their rod holder setup is terrible. And you're going, you need to put more rod holders in and stuff. Well, instead of doing that now, we can use these adjustable butts. And they're dearer, but they're still cheaper than getting a boat builder in to do a job on your boat.
Yeah.
So you can use these adjustable butts, and then also those butts can go on, like you can take the gear on anybody's boat, and it doesn't matter what their rod holder setup is, you're good to go.
Yeah, it'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah, because how mine was on my boat was perfect because the rod holder was put there for that purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's on the right angle.
Yeah.
That was put in the boat purposely when we built it. But then with on Dad's boat, obviously the rod holder that goes into is more vertical, so the dredge boom actually came out into the halyard line, so the halyard would be pushing on top of the dredge boom, which on a calm day, all good, but you get a bit of condition and weather, all of a sudden the halyard's fallen underneath and get jammed, and you know what, it just don't want the risk of that stuff going wrong, you know.
No.
So having that adjustable butt's perfect. I can just change the angle, drop it down, it sits nice and flush with the gunnel, and and also it's got to help with getting the dredge down too.
Oh,
like
definitely.
that getting that angle more level with the water helps the line get down and in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So.
Yeah. Is there anything else in terms of like equipment that we haven't covered with the teasers?
Oh, the one other thing is, like, I get asked a little bit about the teasers is, do you need soft ones or hard ones? For the fishing, like fish side of things, I think you can run anything. Hard's fine, soft's fine.
In terms of the head of the lure, is what you mean?
I don't think it makes any difference. The only thing with the soft ones, why we make soft ones, is for the damage in the boat, like, because you just drop them in the boat, and that you don't have any damage to your boat or to the lure. That's like super durable, and it's like soft, but it's still hard, you know. So I don't think it makes any difference to the fish itself, whether it's a hard head or a soft head. Yeah. You know, because I get guys telling me, oh, they love those soft heads. And I'm like, yeah, but the fish doesn't know it's soft before it eats it, does it? You know? Yeah. So it's pretty silly.
And most of the time they get the skirt too.
Yeah.
Very rarely get the head. Well, they don't crash bite them, eh?
No, until today.
Until today.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely something special.
Well, yeah, like I've got both. I've got a soft head and a hard head.
Yeah.
So I got my submission, which is a soft head, and then my anaconda, which is a hard head. And I'm just more careful with the anaconda because I know it's hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't throw it around.
Yeah, it's not the durability of them at all. Like the stuff that we make them out of is very strong. You know, and it's exactly the same material. It's just one's got a different hardness to the other one. You know? It's more just the damage of chucking something quickly in your boat. You know, like you don't want to be like, it's just not good to throw the hard stuff at your boat. You know, so that's the main reason why we make them out of that softer urethane. Yeah,
well, with mine too, when I clear the gear, I fold my rigger forward because I can't put it straight up because I've got drop-ins. And when I fold it forward, like every now and then, I haven't pulled, like if I'm doing it quickly, I haven't pulled the teaser into the boat.
Yeah.
So I'd be hanging out of the rigger, and when I swing it forward, it swings around and smacks into the side of the boat.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, so it's perfect. You know, having the soft head is sweet because it's not smacking and
Yeah, but as far as the fishing goes, no difference.
No difference.
No, I don't think so.
No.
You know, they do say that you can get the hard head away better than the other one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because it slides through the mouth, and the soft might grip, you know, in the mouth. But I mean, that's just the theory. Again, you know.
I think it happens that quick that.
Oh yeah.
They either got it or they
mate,
don't.
If they get hold of it, it doesn't matter if it's hard, soft, or whatever it is. You bug it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. If they get hold of it and they want it, they'll hold on to it.
I mean, there's plenty of guys that I know that'll tell you their stories of the teasers getting absolutely like smoked. You know, being spooled on the teaser reel. Eddie will probably text me, well, every month or 2 months and say, oh, I need another thing for my teaser. I just got bloody spanked on the teaser, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they just like, you know, you get tuna, eat it, swallow the thing, you get a marlin, get tangled up in it and rip the whole heap of line, you know. Yeah,
well, like Sean, when he worked on the Aranui and they were bait and switch, switching, they caught a marlin on the teaser.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, put its bill through the Flemish eye.
Yeah.
It came up like Flemish eye out the back of the lure that's inside the skirt, went in there and jammed on its bill. And the fish came in obviously hot, grabbed it, took off. And the skipper's yelling at Sean, get the fucking teaser off that fish. And he's obviously trying to wind it, and it's just taking line. And then he just come up on the drag, like sunsetted it, and it's just... And then he's like, push the drag up. And Sean's like, it is. And he's like, oh, well, get the angler in the chair, and they caught it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
The chances of that.
They killed that one because it was dumb.
Yeah,
Got caught with a lure without a hook, so
there you go.
they're like, you can come home.
There you go.
It's like 138 or something, I think. Yeah.
Crack up.
And they gave the guy the teaser as a bit of memorabilia.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. I think they cut the bill off with it still
Oh, yeah.
onto it.
Yeah. No, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a pretty cool day.
Yeah, no, it was mean. That we covered pretty much what we wanted to cover, eh?
Yeah, I mean, as much as you can without demonstrating it.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's just I guess going off the setup podcast that we did, like it was really good because it created a lot of awareness, and it was also good for me to be able to share my experience of what I went through with it. And then I know how important the teaser system is, and I talk to a lot of people about that, so it's good to be able to get somebody with expert knowledge and who has the pool of knowledge, you know, because of things you've experienced and seen. It's good to be able to ask the right questions to expand on that, so that people can be like, oh, okay, like now, hopefully a little bit more awareness if they were sort of on the fence and thinking, didn't quite understand it, that now they're like, okay, I can see the benefit of doing so.
It's all about the triggering different reactions in the fish. That's what the teasers are for. Simple.
Yeah.
You know,
Get
lure
it up.
fishing anyway.
Yeah.
Lure fishing,
Yeah.
not tease and switch.
Yeah.
It's different again.
Yeah. Tease and switch, you want it long, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
so you
you
got
need
more
to get
time.
a tease on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you where you present your bait and everything's a bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another thing. That's not what we're trying to achieve with
With the lures.
with the lures at all. No,
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Yeah, see, I didn't even really think about the fact of them being presented close, that you get them hot and fired up, that they eat going back and away.
Yeah.
Because I think about the fish that I've had good bites from, they're either inside out bites or outside in bites, not the ones where they come up behind. The ones that come up behind, I don't have a good strike rate on them. Yeah. Well, if you see it come up behind the tail of the lure, I'm like, oh no. Like fade to the inside and then come back out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with the stripies, and they come up and put their little bill out of the water and it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah. Very frustrating.
Yeah, well, see, I get a lot of really good long corner bites on my boat, and that's the side that the teaser's on, so I wonder whether they're coming up the
But you'll
spread
notice
that
that
side.
majority of the fish will come on one side on the teaser and they'll eat on the other side of your spread.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like today.
Yep.
Look what happened.
Yeah,
Fish came
true.
on the starboard side, ends up eating on the port.
Ah.
Yeah. Majority of them are like that.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
They won't eat on the same side.
Well, it's not that none of it's like they won't do whatever,
Yeah. But more commonly.
more common, that's what'll happen.
Oh, true. So I was just watching the side he was on, like a hawk. I was like, he's going to smoke that
Yeah.
Trojan there. And then we wound it forward to where we thought he was sitting, because he must have just been sitting in the bloody prop wash behind the boat, eh?
Yeah, they're there. That's why, like, you bring that lure up, quite often they'll eat it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's the underwater lights, mate.
Yeah.
First day running them.
Yeah. I mean, and look at the results.
That's another inside joke for you listeners.
Yeah.
Bonze gives me shit because I had underwater lights on. He's like, what do you have lights on for? You're fishing in the daytime. Yeah. You catch fish today? Nah. Did you have your lights on? Yep, that's why.
Yeah.
So I said, today you're going to, let's put the lights on.
Yeah. And then straight away.
Yeah, let's put the lights on, and I bet you he's going to come up, see the lights, and he's going to pile on the teaser, and then no shit, 10 minutes later, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the power of thought and that, mate, eh? You know?
Well, I said what I say about an hour before. Oh, yeah, the weapon's going to get smoked on this pass. Look at it, looks mint.
Yeah.
Guarantee we're going to get a bite before we get down the bottom and turn.
Yeah. Nah.
Nothing. Yeah. I'll just keep saying something, and eventually, hopefully, something
it's
will
like
come
putting
right.
out that lure that you're like, man, I told you that lure would get it, eh?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, there's more good judgment than, luck than good judgment, I mean.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So, But saying that, it could have been what the fish needed to get their action.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Who knows?
The whole
Well, he
thing.
came from there.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, he was going back and away on the teaser, which is second wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Phenomenal. Like, yeah. To see a 600-pound fish 3 feet out of the water, trying, like, after he tried to eat the lure, like, launch himself out of the water at that teaser. I was like, oh. And then in a split second, he's around and he's back on it. Like, how quick they can move for such a big creature.
Yeah. Yeah, mate. It's crazy.
Fucking mean.
That's why
Like,
you do it.
That's why you put a fucking teaser in your spread for that moment.
Yeah,
right
and
there.
I mean, a lot of people will say, man, don't put a hook in it, out there. But you got to weigh all the pros and cons up. And I feel that, like, the teaser, it's got more pros than cons for my style of fishing. And also, as once again, mentally, I feel more confident having that in my spread because I know what it's doing. And that's where, like, a lot of the fishing comes, is if you're happy with what you look at, don't worry about it, you fish.
Well, it's like a duck shooter. How many duck shooters go to a pond and don't have decoys? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Your lures are your gun. Like, that's what you're going to catch them on. That's what you're going to shoot them with.
Yeah.
But they have decoys.
It's the same as the guys running those marlin decoys that they run.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. Looks like a fish eating, eh?
Exactly. It triggers the others to come in and...
Yeah. Oh, he's having a feed. I'm
Yeah.
going to go join him.
Exactly. So, I mean, this go on. And, like, then there's all sorts of other sorts of teasers, but we just stick with those two. The dredge and your teaser chain.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty good combination.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just having that understanding of what the purpose of it being there is, I think the listeners will take a lot out of that, of what you're trying to trigger.
Yeah, for lure fishing.
Yeah, for lure fishing.
Yeah.
Mean.
Yeah, man.
Alright.
That was a crazy day.
Yeah. Mean day.
Yeah.
Mean day. But so there'll be a few, we'll just sort of pick our way through some more topics over time, but there's definitely a blue marlin one coming after today. That'll be
that's the topic I want to speak about.
Yeah.
I was trying not to take this whole thing to that every time. So that's the fish that ruined me. You can see why now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can definitely see why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see there's definitely there's something, like, there's definitely some skill to it.
Oh yeah. 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 No shit, yeah, they're badass fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I suppose just for some of the other topics, I guess we will cover. We can talk about lure spreads for fishing different areas in New Zealand. What we're trying, like targeting blue marlin on the East Coast, West Coast fishery.
Yeah.
You touched on a little bit of that stuff, so that'll be, that's another topic we can do moving forward.
They're both very different.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, drag management, driving on a fish, like that kind of stuff, the whole fight process. Yeah, bite to fight.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, from me, thank you again. Thank you for a fucking epic day, but also just for your hospitality for the week, actually.
No worries,
for the
man.
week, so.
It's always good to have you here, mate, and good to finally, we talk about it. I mean, we've talked about it for hours, mate, and then to go out and get our small windows of opportunity and be able to experience that,
We said today, like, driving out, you're like, we're driving out or when we're fishing?
Yeah.
Imagine catching, like, fuck, it'd be mean if we catch fish and then we do the podcast.
yeah.
Yeah, didn't think it was going to be a 600-pound blue marlin.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, mate.
Nah, cool. All right, thank you very much for your time again, Bonze, and I'm sure the listeners will appreciate that.
Yeah, welcome.
I do. Sweet.
Anytime.
Hey team, hope you enjoyed that podcast as much as I did and you got some great insight. Alright, so details for the giveaway. You'll need to follow Real Tales of Sweens, Bonze Lures and Killwell Sports all on Facebook. Then you're going to head over to Bonze Lures on Facebook, like the episode post, tag a mate and answer these 2 questions in the comment section below. Okay, so first question, what teaser did our blue marlin we caught together come on first? And then the second question is, does Bonze fish with underwater lights on? Cool. So 2 pretty simple questions. Make sure you like the pages, tag a mate in the comment section below, answer those 2 questions, and then you're in the draw. The winner will be drawn 2 weeks after this podcast episode airs. Best of luck. Tight lines, and I'll catch you on the next episode.